7 o'clock.
All meeting to order, roll call.
Mike Hayes,
Here.
Jennifer Watkins. Here. Chris Hunt.
Here.
Kit Williams.
Here.
Drew Schultz. Angel Ramsey. Here.
Everyone had a chance to review the agenda.
Yep.
There are no additions or corrections. I have an explanation of a couple of things, but there are no additions or corrections to what you've received. I need a motion to approve it for tonight's meeting.
Motion to approve tonight's agenda.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
4-0. I'm going to, while we're going through let's back up. There are some items missing in the consent agenda that are normally there. Ms. Gooding explained why, and that they will be included in the special meeting on the 15th. Sarah? Very good.
So we talked a little bit, I think, about the fact we were having some challenges in our QuickBooks system, and that we knew that some conversion processes were going to lead to challenges at close, and those have become more complex than expected. When our treasurer went to do close, we found that we had some missing entries from the week that we were in conversion processes. We are still working to reconcile that. And so when I spoke with him on July 4, he was not able to close books that night, which did not allow us to have them in time for packet by the 6th, because we weren't able to reconcile that weekend. I did want to let council know that all close of books financial reports should be in the special meeting agenda for next week, including the appropriations ordinance, and so that can be approved at that time. We are still trying to get all of our file systems together, and so it is possible that those will be shared with council and posted online on Monday, to allow our treasurer the weekend to finish processing. So I want you to know we're working diligently, and I regret that we don't have everything this time.
As far as the consent agenda items that are included or presented, any additions, corrections, questions?
No. I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second. Second by Kit. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody have a public comment they would like to make this evening? Oh, right. We have two special presentations tonight. One, a community project from Deputy Hall and Sidekick. Would you want to introduce your sidekick?
Absolutely. Deputy Albemarle County Sheriff's Office, currently assigned to Patrol District, formerly contract deputy for the city of Towanda. This is the new contract deputy for the city of Towanda. This is going to be Deputy Moyer. So he's been assigned to the city for approximately a month and a half this summer, 2 months. Has been working diligently to keep members of the community.
Nice.
Okay.
So today I wanted to come before the council and talk about a plan that I had for a community box. Community box has been used in several other communities at the size of Towanda or even larger. There's one currently in Andover. Community boxes are for anonymous donations and anonymous pickups. You could put items such as diapers, powdered baby formula, non-perishable goods, and hygienic products for members of the community that are impoverished and cannot afford those. In my time working in Towanda, I saw a great need for this. And I thought it'd be a fine idea to have that here. I understand the church provides some assistance, but things that might go missing, such as diapers or missing from what people would think to donate, might not be available at all times of day. The community box would be something you put on city property so people could come at all hours of the day to be able to, they'd be able to come in at all hours of the day and anonymously pick up any items that they might need from the box, and be able to provide to their children or themselves. With it being on city property, obviously, I believe the city council would need to approve that. Any liabilities that might come with such an item. So.
You have an idea where to put that at?
I thought in the rocks over here.
Okay.
It would be a deck box If anybody has an idea, it'd be like a resin box.
Yeah.
Approximately 3 to 4 feet long, approximately 2.5 feet tall. And I would purchase that out of my own pocket to make it look as close to the building as possible and not stand out and be an eyesore.
Comments?
I love it.
That's a great idea.
I think it's a great idea. It's a great asset to the community.
Yep, absolutely.
I absolutely love it. Yeah, I think it's a no-brainer for me.
I would
Regardless.
assume we need a motion to approve it to be placed on city
I'll
property.
make a motion for you to place your box on the, wherever you want out here and make it look nice, and I love it.
Absolutely.
And I second it.
Is that a motion, Mr. Hunt?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did I not say that?
You did.
Okay, sorry,
He's not hearing you.
sorry. I thought I said it. Yeah, I'll make a motion to set your
Motion
box.
by Chris, seconded by Angel. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Set up soon.
Thank you. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you, officer.
Hey, let us know if
Good
there's anything we can help with on that too.
Absolutely. If I could make use of the community page to be able to send ideas for donations and let them know when that's set up.
Absolutely. We could probably put something in the
Yeah.
Herald
So
too.
let's
Yep.
get
I
with
would-
Sarah, get something in the Herald.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I would be glad to put in the Herald on social media and the other channels.
Standing.
Awesome.
Thank you all very much. for
Thank
your
you.
time.
Thank you.
Next item, Mr. Williams, Councilman Williams.
Thank you. I don't need to go up there, do I?
Mhm.
On 4th of July, people were cutting loose with firecrackers and what have you. Great, looked great. Most everything was safe. About 10:30 at night, neighbor comes running over and says, hey, a parachute dropped in the roof. That is still lit. This is known as a Chinese lantern. I don't think these should be allowed. They are legal in the state. I don't think these should be allowed in our city. Because like it happened to me, I wasn't firing firecrackers or anything else. I was just sitting outside with my boy and his friend when this landed on my roof. Where it came from, I can't tell you because there was a bit of a wind. Over a lake, over a pond, fine. But in the city, I don't think this should be allowed. And when it landed, it was still lit.
So what you're asking for is a review of the city regulations as far as what fireworks are allowed in town.
Yes.
Hold on. I got an argument against it then, cause that's no different than the mortars going off and them landing on the roof or in the tree or anything else.
But those aren't still on fire when
Yes,
they
they
come
are.
down.
Oh, I promise you, I've been fighting fire a long time and I promise you they are.
Okay.
So. I think it's a very short-sighted review is what you're looking for myself. I understand that it made you angry and it happened to your house and I get that,
Oh, yes.
but, if you're gonna look at something, you gotta look at all of it, and that's just my opinion on it.
Yep. You're definitely entitled to your opinion as everybody else is.
That's right.
And I'm not fighting with you about
No,
the other ones coming down lit. But I know this one was. I didn't see anything else. I wasn't
well,
paying
so
attention to that.
how long have they been shooting those off in town or in the state? How long have they been at the,
Oh, they've been firing those off up at the lake all the time. I know for at least the
okay,
last
so I'm
8
asking
years.
in the city. How long have they been legal in the city or in the state?
I don't know if they're legal in the city. I don't believe they are. Or I believe they are legal. And that's why I wanted to stop, to have those. Over water, that's fine. It's not gonna cause a problem, but here in the town, it's gonna be more of a problem.
So let's just throw a hypothetical out.
Yeah.
Let's say it's been legal for 20 years. And this year, one landed on your house. Thankfully, it didn't do any damage, or I hope it didn't.
No, it didn't.
And now we want to make a change.
Yeah. Before it does
But
happen again.
nothing for the last 20 years when these were being shut off.
Like I said,
I
I
mean,
don't
you see
know.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Suggestions?
Well, I think the benefit you've got is time. By that I mean, you've got a year.
Yeah.
to,
I-
if anybody wanted to do additional research as far as, hey, what might be
That-
too dangerous for the governing body or not, and then make that presentation between now and next year.
I'm not opposed to looking as a council. Joel's vote that counts, so I can't. But I'm not opposed to a presentation after some research has been done on what other communities have done in the area of changing their fireworks restrictions, the regulations, what is legal, what isn't legal.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I have to agree with Chris to some degree because I don't want to make a knee-jerk reaction, but if there's some factual basis that certain things are being excluded in other
Yeah.
towns for the same reason, then I think we need to discuss it, come in line, or make a firm decision. But I think the first thing to do is, again, if you want to do it, if you want to call some other communities.
Oh, yeah,
see what
yeah,
they're
I will.
doing, I'd appreciate it.
I won't call, I go to them.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
anyway, if you would.
Yeah.
Then we can put together a presentation, we can talk about it.
That seems more than reasonable to me.
Okay,
I think that's great.
all right, let's move on. Old business, update on 309 Main.
The property owner made, the front has been braced, it's received all of its inspections and passed the inspections, the supports have been removed. The building inspector, has viewed the property and at this time declares that it's stable. Based, and the work was done based upon the structural engineer's drawings. Um, um, Yes, tonight's agenda includes the demolition resolution hearing and a grant update. The latest I had heard from the grant administrator, she'd been on vacation the past week, was that the grant was ready to load once the council made their final decision this evening, if they so choose to vote for that. I apologize. So the building's been stabilized, so I guess it's council's decision as to whether or not we continue. We have the dilapidated hearing this evening, whether or not we allow them to continue with the grant.
So I think our steps would be to conduct the dilapidated hearing,
Correct.
and then to look at grant updates and,
So
yeah.
if that.
That's where I was pausing at, is because there are some
If you're
updates. to the
finished, what
grant.
I'm going to do is open the dilapidated building hearing.
Yes,
We'll now open the hearing in the matter of dilapidation of the property of Barry Jones, 309 Main. The commercial structure is set for review this evening. During the public hearing, we will discuss the findings and hear from the owner before the governing body makes a decision. First thing we'd like to do is allow the property owner to speak regarding the property.
Yes. Everything for the front is structurally replaced and been served. And so he's supposed to pour the concrete for the final. Right,
Concrete for the what? I'm sorry.
for the column, for the base. It's all signed off, except for now all you have to do is just cover the base, concrete. And that's gonna happen like Friday, I think is what it said. So that's all, they have to make that complete at that point.
Are we talking about footings or are we talking about the floor?
The footing's already poured.
Okay, so you're just talking about the floor now,
We're just talking about the cover,
the floor.
about that much concrete.
Yeah.
On the inside,
Yep, that's, okay,
the cover floor, yeah, basically,
the floor.
because, Tim, you all had to look at before we poured.
Yeah.
We had to look at all that and certify, satisfy him, so.
Yeah.
So, All we gotta do now is cover it up. It's gonna happen Friday, I guess. Yeah, so. Other than that, I'm still waiting on, the questions you asked Stephanie, I'm still waiting. Yeah, Stephanie was on vacation, I guess, until yesterday. So I'm sure she's playing catch up. I'm sure she's loaded right now from vacation, so.
I have 2 emails out to her and I've not received a response yet, but.
Yeah, there's nothing that Wendy was yet.
Grant lady.
She was kind of. We're gonna, should know something next couple of days on what's going on with the brand.
You have contractors lined up and ready to go, cause
Yeah, as soon as we get hey, we got several contractors, waiting to put a bid in, but we got.
is he gonna be allowed to put a bid? Do we ever figure that out? Can he bid or not?
The way I understand it from Stephanie, he might get it, he might not. There's gotta be 3 bids.
But he is allowed to bid, cause last month we were told he wasn't allowed to bid.
Well, maybe you can help me out, Sarah.
I think that was what Scott had indicated, was there's a point where like project familiarity can create an unfair advantage, or it may be that project familiarity, you right size your bid and others come in lower. And so I think there's some question of whether that would be allowed given the familiarity. And I think ultimately that would be something that the grant manager would advise in as the project proceeds.
That's what Stephanie kind of explained it to me was Romero might not get the contract because he might have too much interest in it. But that doesn't really matter.
Mhm.
I mean, it's going to be up to Stephanie what they decide on who's going to get the job.
And I think what he's saying is with any federal funding, you have to watch out for conflict of interest or anything that would look like there was an inappropriate connection to the project. So
Is weather gonna be a factor? We're supposed to get rain tonight, early morning.
Tonight, tomorrow night. If
Is that
it
gonna
stays
interfere
dry
with
Friday, if it stays dry Friday, that should be okay.
It's different. than the
It's
foot.
not much that it needs to be done, and so we can play it by ear. But regarding to the grant, there is a process that needs to follow in order to find the window for the application, and I think for the selection of bids and all that good stuff goes after that. But Stephanie has been on vacation, so we don't know anything yet. We don't have an update yet
Yeah.
because she just came back probably yesterday.
Council, I'm going to jump a little ahead to the grants since we're talking about that. Between Stephanie being on vacation, I was on vacation last week. Lisa had a couple of vacation days. We as a staff should have evaluated what we had so far, and we did not. There were wires crossed in terms of who was taking on which parts of the project. And so we dropped the ball as a staff on evaluating what we do have. There is a point where we need to touch base back with Stephanie and make sure that, we're full circle on everything. So I think that we will be picking things back up as we have that chance. I think Lisa and I are planning to sit down tomorrow and review what we have received so far. But I wanted to just own that as we're talking about the grant. And then I had one other update that I had received today that is relevant. And so one of my questions as we've been evaluating the grant application is what happens worst case scenario if things don't work out with the project, either if construction isn't completed or if you're not able to get a tenant in within the year's time frame. And so I had reached out to the state Department of Commerce Community Development Block Grant Specialist to say what happens in terms of repayment for a failed project. And I'd like to read what I received. And I just got this earlier today. But their specialist said The city must contract with the state and would be called a grantee. The grantee is fully responsible for CDBG grant performance and compliance. And if grant repayment is required, which is an unusual happening, it would be the responsibility of the grantee city to repay the state. However, we would anticipate the city would seek reimbursement from the subject building owner. There could be an agreement or a memorandum of understanding that could share the responsibilities of both parties and could include repayment provisions. Repayment would be required if the building did not meet a national objective. In this case, that's blight, paraphrasing. Lastly, so as long as blight is eliminated, that would be satisfied. But lastly, we require commercial business occupancy of the renovated building within 1 year of construction completion. And so should the project fail to meet either situation, repayment would likely be expected.
And
And
would
so,
it be a full repayment? Pardon my interruption.
you're fine. No, it is prorated over the 5-year compliance term.
Okay,
So you're talking, I believe it's about 145,000 in
Okay.
grant funds.
so what is the,
And so
What's the
as the compliance term goes on, if the project failed in the first year, you'd be, somewhere between 80 and 100% repayment. If the project failed in the fourth year, it'd be a much lower amount. And so in terms of equipping council with information for risk analysis, I felt like that was important to share this evening. And so again, this is fresh information, just came in
what'd you
today.
say?
Let me get this right. If he can't find a tenant in a year, the city's liable to pay that money back.
Yes.
And that's after the building has been completely finished as far as renovation, structural, whatever.
Yes.
He has to find a tenant. So then my question to you, Mr. Perry, is
Yeah.
where are you in establishing what kind of business is gonna go in there and seeking those businesses out? Because I don't think any of us want to vote for something where the city of Towanda would have to be on the hook for $200,000.
Well, it's like the city codes and we follow the city codes and or is what, and if we come up with something different, then we gotta go to the variance.
Okay.
And, but, I'm trying to come up with something.
So trying does not mean that you have, so you have no idea on what businesses you're going to want to attract to go in there at this point. Is what I'm
It's
hearing.
too early right
Okay.
now at the moment, and we're gonna make it in village's suit or whatever somebody's wanting.
Okay,
Go.
Okay.
And
and have you had anybody reach out to you and you're free to answer as well? Have y'all had
There
any?
is a process as
interest?
part of the grant that is a selection of potential and identifying potential tenants.
Okay,
Johanna is a commercial real estate, and she is part of that process after we finished with the application of the grant. And right now, anyone could be available or identified as potential tenant.
sure.
It's just a matter of if there is gonna be the right property for them, and then it could be remodeled to suit any need of any potential tenant.
And so at what point in that 2-year process, because do I understand it right? They have 2 years to do the structural piece of it?
Yes, so that's
Okay.
the average project time, and it
Okay.
starts with all the compliance review, the environmentals, bidding, plans, things like that. And so the construction is anticipated in year 2.
Okay, and so at what point during that construction do you start marketing to try to solicit businesses to come in?
Okay.
I don't know, I don't know. I don't think Crystal.
Oh,
Yeah, I just.
sorry.
Oh, no,
I got
we're
my-
in trouble.
Yeah, I apologize, guys. I got you. That's good. This is made of different phases.
Okay.
Phase 1 is to complete, which was the part of the roof. And then after that, everything falls into our side or his side to find the tenant. And it has to be advertising, marketing properly on the commercial real estate side. community, business communities. I'm pretty sure that, there is gonna be, a potential tenant or many, depending, and everything is gonna be as per Lisa we were told or shared in a piece of information that shows what per codes, what type of business can be placed within the town. So where, or the realtor that is gonna do that, is gonna try to focus on those. And then if then somebody else is interested, that may have to have a conditional permit, then it will be evaluated by you guys and see if that will qualify.
Hey, question for you. How many other of these buildings do you own?
3 on 1.
Right. One of them's had a for rent sign up for a year and a half. Correct? The one with the little bar or something in it. The second one in, I think. Is that right?
Yeah, they've been up for lease for a while.
So I guess my question would be, why would we think that those two haven't rented? What's gonna make the next one rent? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Say that again.
Well, you said these two have been up for lease here.
Yeah.
Or two of them or something.
Mhm.
For at least a year and a half that I know of. What's gonna change because it's on the other side? And I understand that it's gonna be a newer building, but the outside's still gonna look the same and it's still in Tawana. So what is convincing you that it's gonna change?
Well, I look for, hopefully things are gonna change around here. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yep,
That's good for everybody.
absolutely. But
And
again,
that's- and I'm putting a gamble out there and I hope I'm right. I hope things will improve.
so I'm gonna ask this question, and you can tell me no all you want, or you can tell me yes, or you can tell me whatever you want. This one right here on the corner is used for storage. Is that pretty fair?
I got a few things in there.
Right, there's a lot in there. Is that what you're trying to do with the other one too?
No,
Okay, alright,
no, it's empty.
okay,
Wait, can I answer to that too?
yeah,
I also a real estate broker. I do commercial and residential besides being a licensed builder and commercial contractor. And I also an insurance agent. So there had to be wrong comparables among different cities. And what happened with this one is they run the comparables based on the Torero and larger cities. So the amount of rent to qualify for it was really large.
Right. right,
So it has to be rerun to make sure that the first 2 or 3 years of the business, the rent is pretty affordable, so they can take off. And then if the city supports that, not only government or sales tax,
no, I gotcha.
community-wise and the business
Right.
as well, I'm pretty sure that there are gonna be more business to come, but it has to be an adjustment on that, which I reflected on the business plan that we
Yes.
presented.
I've taken a quick review of the business plan. I have not reviewed it in great detail. So I may have a few more questions after Lisa and I have a chance to work through that review. Unfortunately, I can't speak to it in depth tonight.
Well, let me get this straight, okay? When it comes to the bottom line, you're asking the city to essentially guarantee an amount of money in excess of $150,000, what's all, to repair a building that fell down because the contractor hit it. Now, what happened to the insurance the contractor had that did you not collect insurance from the contractor that knocked the building down to begin with?
No, it's not old business.
No, it's. I don't pursue that at the beginning.
Did we not have a permit for the contractor that showed a certificate of insurance?
Yeah.
The individual that began the work was very good, pulled the permit for the first individual that worked on the project.
My question is, did we not have a permit with a certificate of insurance and the contractor's license? No?
Yeah. Kansas,
Okay. All right, let's go a couple of steps further down the road. So you collected no insurance money from anybody on that building? Okay. Did you sue the contractor?
I should have, yeah.
Not my question.
But I didn't.
Okay. That was my question.
No, I didn't.
Do you have a plan, if you cannot find somebody to move into that building, of how you're going to repay the debt?
I have the funds to repay the debt if it falls.
Are you willing to put those funds in escrow?
I can't.
Is that legal?
Rob?
I don't know.
You're
Already
Can-
do.
can
looking
we-
like you wanna.
Can we collect, can we
Y'all gotta learn
ask
to read all
Mr.
the
Jones?
things and ask
to
that
collateral-
question. I'm telling you.
Huh? Go ahead.
Oh, we're talking. You're fine.
I don't know. We will have to check with the grant. See if 150K can be put in escrow. I mean, we wouldn't have an objection to it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Can we ask him to collateralize our participation in the loan?
I'm hearing you say that you're willing to put 150K approximately in escrow to basically guarantee this project.
I don't want to, but I mean, it depends on what the grant is about. You know, the grant, what the grant is gonna, what Stephanie's gonna say. It's too early. As soon as Stephanie gets involved, finds out what's going on, we'll have a lot more information on the grant.
I kind of see that side of it too, where you don't want to put the money down until the grant is at least approved, or at least what kind of grant he can apply.
No,
for.
I understand.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if you had a magic, let me rephrase my question.
I
If
mean,
you had a magic wand, it's gonna be, the request is for approximately 150K,
Correct.
correct? Yeah. And you're gonna do with that with whatever's approved is your goal. And if that's the case, are you willing to basically put up those funds?
But if I want to put people at ease here, Council, if the grant fails, I'm going to go pursue the project on my own, with my own funds, if I have to.
So I have,
Okay, hang on.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
no, you're fine.
Can I interject?
That may be
Yeah, yeah.
the case. However,
Mhm.
if the grant fails at some point, depending upon what point that is, there will be funds that will have been expended. The city potentially has, for lack of a better phrase, co-signed for. That the city could be on the hook to repay the fund, the loan, the grant, excuse me. And its only recourse would be to try to recoup those funds against you.
Up on the top budget.
While also you're telling us that you're gonna be pursuing it separately. I think the city's question is, if you had a magic wand and you're able to get $150,000 of grant funds, would you be willing and able to escrow 150,000 to minimize, if not eliminate, the city's potential liability for this project?
Good.
Sure.
The first phase of the grant is asking to put some money in escrow already, in a form like a share check. And the second phase calls for total independence of the grant, and it will come from private funding, either reserves on the bank or commercial loan or anything. So the second phase, he will have all the money coming from Mr. Jones, regardless of the grant approval.
So,
And I understand what you're saying, but I don't think that's necessarily a plus for the city. Because what I'm hearing is that you're gonna be on the hook for other grants in addition and above and beyond what you may be willing to collateralize or guarantee for behalf of the city. So while I understand and appreciate that answer, I think my question remains. And from the city's minimization or elimination of liability standpoint is, you want to put up 150K, because I think one of the city's big concerns, hurdles is, and I'll be as transparent as I can be, and as gentle as I can be, is that the likelihood of this project coming to fruition with a completed structure and a tenant, et cetera, that's paying rent and so on and so forth is low. And with that being said, the city could very well be on the hook for reimbursement of dollars, whatever that figure is. And as a result, the city has zero interest in trying to recoup any amount of dollars from you, should that be the case. As such, the city is looking for a willingness to escrow dollars to eliminate our risk. Have I summarized that fairly?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And maybe the number's not 150-ish thousand, I don't know, but I think something is there for sure.
I just picked the high number.
Yeah, no, I know, yeah.
Let me see if I can kind of break down the math, and I don't have the numbers right in front of me, so I'll look to you guys for guidance. But basically, phase one, which is functionally what we're being asked to be the grantee on, is a project valued at just under 200,000. Of that, about 50,000 is coming from Mr. Perry or Mr. Jones's own funds. 146,000 or so is the grant that is being pursued. So phase one takes care of, again, I don't have it in front of me, but a lot of the key structural things. We okay?
You have it.
I got it.
Yeah, we got
Yeah.
it.
Okay. Then phase two
Thank you.
is basically one of the things we'll continue in the city's review is making sure that phase two is really structured for success. Phase two, I believe, is kind of finishing out the building, getting a tenant ready. That would be entirely up to Mr. Jones to pursue and to fund. One of our obligations as staff on your behalf is to make sure that he is prepped and ready and that his funding is set up in a way that looks like we would likely complete. So one of my questions that we'll continue to look at is the funding stack and how much does he have in personal funds currently? How much could end up being in a loan? What other resources might be tapped? And then we look at the 5-year compliance period following completion, because if the project fails within those 5 years, some share will be repaid. The structure of everything says that Mr. Jones is the one who repays. The value of downtown Towanda buildings does not come close to the value of the loan currently. I've looked at some other buildings downtown. So that's where my concern comes. So phase one, we would be looking potentially to escrow an amount equivalent to the grant liability. Phase two, we need to ensure that the funding stack is set up and ready. And through the compliance period, we need to ensure that the revenue looks strong enough that the project would not fail during the compliance period.
That you've said now twice, that even if you don't get the grant, you're gonna continue on with your own money.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna finish the job. I mean, we have no other where to go other than anyway, I mean,
So by us voting on this thing, we're just trying to be friendly and help you get a grant. If you don't get it, you're still gonna continue.
I'm gonna continue to finish the building.
That kind of breaks down what I needed to know.
2 questions.
Mhm.
Do they still run parallel?
Yes. Yes.
Up
So
until
we
what
can,
point?
I think it would, and I'm looking to other experts as well. I think that point would be up until the building would be demolished.
Okay.
Is there a point sooner than that we would
I don't
need
think
to
so.
deviate? So when the building comes down, we can't run parallel anymore.
Okay.
We can continue with the dilapidated resolution and proceed forward with that while we continue to evaluate the grant. And
we're
we'll
not
be
doing-
doing our next review tomorrow, and then we'll wait for Stephanie's weigh in on the grant.
So we don't need to, technically, we don't have to make a decision on this tonight.
Also,
Yeah.
Harry,
we have to
at what point with that building
Look at your last
do
page.
you say, I tried and used this grant or the
CDBG.
CDBG grant for those other buildings before they have no roof or are in need of repair, as this building is in dire need of repair?
Mhm.
Have you ever thought about that?
Explain.
Instead of using this grant on a building that's going to cost you a lot more than what it comps to, why don't you use it on one of the other two buildings you use or own?
Yeah, that's something that, conversation with Stephanie, you probably know more than I did.
Did you ever think about that?
Thought about that too, yeah. Yeah,
I-
it's,
I think this building's eligibility is specifically due to its blight condition and the immediacy of the
Okay.
concerns. As a whole, Towanda actually does not meet a lot of the low to moderate income thresholds for more generalized use. In this case, it's about remediating the blighted structure.
Okay.
You good?
Yes.
Mayor, what do you need from us?
Well, we've got to get through the rest of this. Okay. Barry, thank you.
Yeah.
Lisa, do you have comments? Lisa, or start with Ms. Gooding?
You have my statement of officer report at this moment, the building is stabilized. Mr. Ingles. I spoke with him today and in its condition that it is now, it is stabilized as it sits, so it would give us a little time. To work through whatever process direction we go.
So at this point in time, if we're going to the governing body final decision, your evidence would support the fact that it's neither unsafe
At
or
this
dangerous
moment-
at this point.
At this moment, yes, he said, not for years, not for 3 or 4 years down the road, no. At this moment, the building is stabilized.
I feel like that's all we've been doing for 3 or 4 years, is talking about this building.
Yep. I guess what we do at this point is we have to have a motion to ask the administration to prepare a resolution. Is that correct?
We're still in the dilapidation public hearing.
Okay.
So it sounds like if Lisa has no other comment to make, then I think we conclude step 2.
The next,
I know we kind of skipped around a little bit with governing body decision discussion. I would recommend that you allow governing body to have any further discussion that they wish to have in order to consider step 3 concluded.
Does anyone else have any questions, comments, concerns, suggestions?
I'll throw this in. If you final decision options, options. If you approve the resolution for it to be dilapidated and thus demolished, just so that you're aware from timeline purposes, we believe, meaning city staff, our best guess, is that even after approval of that resolution, you're going to need/want to commission professional demo plans to get that done, and then to have those plans bid, and then select the winning bid from those plans, and then at that point physically demolish the dilapidated structure. Best guess,
6 months.
I think you could have it before the end of the year.
Yeah, here's my problem with it. I appreciate what you just said. But number 4, bullet point number 4 under 3, under paragraph 3 here, governing body must be convinced that such structure is in fact unsafe or dangerous and not merely unsightly. Correct. I don't think we have any option.
Yeah.
Reading just that sentence and the other ones around it, what option do we really have? Because they just said it's safe now or it's stable.
Okay, I think, are you asking my opinion?
Yes, absolutely.
I think stable and dangerous are 2 different things.
Yeah. I agree.
And I think that what you have presently has stabilized to the point of removing the wooden braces. But I still think the structure in and of itself can certainly be found by the governing body to be dangerous in its present condition. If you so chose.
That helps, thank you. He didn't say, Mr. Ingles didn't say anything about it being safe, right? He said it was stable. Mr. Ingles said it was stable,
Yes,
correct?
it's stabilized for the time being, yes.
Okay.
He said not for a long length of time because the
Okay.
withdrawal concerns him. But at the moment, it is stabilized.
Thank you.
He recommended that we have an engineer make that final decision if you have concerns. He said have an engineer, have it in writing, whether or not.
That's been discussed very recently. Has any contact been made with an engineering firm to?
Not yet. I wanted to get the council's blessing to, I wanted to double back and say Lisa did reach out to several firms to seek demo bids. We ended up receiving 2 and they came in widely varying, which indicates probably some uncertainty. And so I did want to seek the council's blessing to reach out to the engineer to determine if we'd like to get an engineering plan developed.
Oh, that's what we had.
I thought we authorized that sometime back.
At one point, we discussed it, and the estimate was possibly as high as about 10,000. And so we had
Yeah.
said maybe
Yeah,
we
I did all
could
that.
have the engineer review the draft plans. At this point, given the variance, I don't think we're comfortable with that. Um, with taking the 2 potential bids that we have and determining which one we want to proceed with and then having the engineer review.
Well, I think bid is going to be based on what the engineer says. Well, I got one that's hedging their bet and one that's not. I don't know.
My recollection, you guys tell me if you recollect something differently, was that the engineer's comments, I'm paraphrasing here, were that we're basically passing the buck to contractors as far as the demolition and what they put in their bid.
Correct.
My recommendation, for what it's worth, is to commission our city engineer, meaning JEO, to prepare a demolition plan and then have the demolition plan bid by the contractors to demo the building. In my opinion, anyone that was willing to put in a bid for a demolition plan without a demolition plan is not something that we should be interested in.
That's old Billy Bob down the road. You rent an excavator and putting it down.
So with the council's blessing, I'm glad to proceed with that.
Now, with that being said, consider what we talked about 4 minutes ago. You could also perhaps reach out to JEO for a double whammy, and by that I mean a demo plan as well as a formal opinion with regard to the current state
Right.
of it.
Is it safe? Is it stable?
Correct.
Which
Yeah,
one is it?
I like
I
that.
think, yeah.
Will do.
I have to be honest, Ms. Berry, I do want you to be able to finish this building. But I'm not willing to put everybody's money at risk, I guess, is what I'm getting at right now. We have to check every one of these boxes. So please don't sit and think, damn, Chris is just up there, you don't want me to finish it. I promise that's not it. I promise. But I feel like we have a whole lot of boxes to check and we've let this go for so long that now we gotta check them again. Mayor, is that fair to say?
That's fair to say. We've gone. Seems like every time we try to do something, we wind up having to draw another line in the sand.
It's unleashing another box of worms.
But again, like I said, I truly want the building
To be
fixed. Because of Gambinos, because of X, whatever that is. But, yeah, because of Tawanda. But we have to make sure it's safe. We have to make sure it's worth our time. These guys, our administration, they're gonna put in a bunch of time on this, as you know. I know you're putting in a lot of money as well. Roberto's already put in a bunch of time, and I appreciate for how far you guys have gotten finally. I understand some hiccups and things like that, but I personally, I mean, I only speak for myself. I don't know how we move forward this without more information.
So if you're still wishing to run parallel, then I think the next step for you is to talk to JEO to do.
Right. Correct.
What I,
If you don't want to invest the 10K, I'm just throwing that approximation out there, and you want to see the grant process run through to its end, then you don't need to do that. But if you want to stay flexible with the parallel tracks, then I think that's the next step for you.
would it be possible to get a firm estimate? And I know that's kind of a, by the special meeting next week from JEO on exactly what that would cost.
I will do my best.
Sure,
But
possible.
I don't think we have a choice.
I have no idea what JEO's schedule is. I don't know what their capabilities are, and
Well, I just want a price. And that's fine.
No, absolutely.
They've looked at it before. They've got the drawings. They've, the ones that approved the
I
plan.
have to believe if they have any bodies that are available, that they should give you an estimate in a week with regard to what a demo plan is going to cost.
Right.
But I'm speculating based upon my day-to-day
Well,
experience.
you do it all the time. So. You take around
That was
10,000. Want to go ahead and make a motion to approve the administrator to solicit a demo plan?
Wait, we're still in lunch, right?
You're still in the dilapidation hearing.
So we're going to come out of the dilapidation hearing before we can go in. Yeah. But if we want this, well, we could, but if we want to run parallel, this could.
Yeah.
So if you're not gonna approve a resolution pursuant to the dilapidation hearing, I would say that your motion would be to table the continuation of the dilapidation hearing until next month.
So what does it do? And anybody can ask or answer. What does it do if we were to approve the dilapidation hearing? What does that do starting now or tomorrow or whatever?
If you were to approve the dilapidation hearing, I believe that your still next step is to commission a demo plan,
So we're still doing the same thing.
bid it, award it.
And we can approve this, but it doesn't have to go anywhere.
However, if you're talking about the double whammy and you would like confirmation from your city engineer that says it's dangerous, then I would say that you table the dilapidation hearing for another time.
I think it's the difference between keeping the clock running versus hitting pause on the
Like
stopwatch
we always
for a
hit
month.
pause on the stopwatch. Alright. What do you want to hit pause?
Yeah, we don't have enough information.
That's fine with me. I can't vote in it.
All make a
Make a
motion to
motion.
table the dilapidation public hearing for until
I'd say the August meeting.
August meeting.
You're gonna want JO to give you a report.
August meeting.
Second. Favor.
I.
Thanks, Mike.
I was gonna get the date of the meeting.
Now you want a motion to authorize the city administrator to approach JEO about the dangerous designation or not.
So I'll make a motion for you to talk to JEO about the dangerous or if it's dangerous or stable and coming up with say it again,
Demolition.
a demolition,
For a demo plan.
a demo plan, please.
Second.
Angel, all in favor?
Aye.
Based on the vote,
Okay.
tabled until the next meeting, which will be the second Wednesday in August. And staff will, at that time, be able to present a firm cost estimate.
Yes.
I'm trying to put more work on this.
Council, as far as items 3 and 4 under that same item, we will review the grant applications. We will continue to work administratively with Roberto, with Mr. Jones to work toward a clean and ready to succeed grant application. We also should have, by our original timeline, brought the grant administrator contract tonight. Again, that was lost in the wires crossed. We received one proposal to be the grant administrator. That proposal was from SCED that has been the grant writer so far. And so that proposal we will review tomorrow. If we feel like it is solid and ready, we will go ahead and take the action to prepare a contract for August. So that we'll continue to have all the pieces in place for you.
Thank you.
Any other items under old business? New business, zoning exemption.
If a executive city code put the flag in a sidewalk for H2O Church to advertise their snow cones. I spoke with Tamara. They advertise the snow cones in the afternoon when they're open, and they have the kids come in and they play. She didn't realize that they needed it, and I told her they did, but I would be here on behalf of her, asking the city council to allow them to continue flying their snow cone flag
Yes,
out front.
absolutely. We just let Gambinos do that too. I think
Yep.
that's a no-brainer.
So
Do we need a motion for that? Oh, you do?
Mhm.
I'll make a motion to let the ice cone, or the ice snow cone lady fly her flag temporarily.
Wait a minute.
And I second it.
That's the best motion I've ever heard.
Do we have a
You're
blooper
here,
reel? Can we
Chris.
hit that for a blooper? Second.
Yeah, I forgot to.
I second it.
Everybody seconded it, all in favor?
My goodness.
And Great Dead.
Right.
And I have to follow that.
Good luck.
Okay, employee handbook updates. So you'll remember, flashbacks not too long ago in April, council approved a pretty major overhaul to the handbook. That is not what we're doing tonight. When you do a major overhaul, there are always going to be some loose ends, some questions, clarifications that come up. And so tonight, what I'm presenting is basically answers to questions that have emerged since that handbook was approved 3 months ago. So key proposed updates within it include clarification to the attendance and leave policy. And one of the things that we put in place was an alternate work schedule that allows employees to set their schedule in alignment with family and personal needs, as well as looking at how to support the organization. We also allowed a full-time employee to work as little as 35 hours in their regular schedule. What emerged was the first 5 hours that people didn't work, they didn't want to take leave. And the intent of that is really that people would work the schedule that's established. They would take leave for time that they're not able to work. Similarly, there is some ability to flex hours if somebody's out for a medical appointment, to make up an hour here or there, but that does need supervisor pre-approval. That's not just to take for granted. And so this clarifies that. We also previously had said employees could use leave in 1 hour increments. And that leaves some people, short or long, almost an hour. And so I'd like to move that down to 1/4 hour increments, just so that people can get as close to their normal payroll as possible if they're using leave.
Well, what? They can use leave for 15 minutes?
Mm.
Oh,
We are on a time clock system, so the time clock calculates to the minute.
Yep.
And so that allows if somebody, it's not uncommon, if somebody's using leave, that they're either going to be at, 39.5 or 40.5. And so it allows them to kind of Price is Right, get as close to that 40 without going over. So.
We're a fairly large business and we don't, like you get an hour, you get nothing. Are you trying to keep it from going to overtime? Is that what you're trying to do?
It would be regular time if it does go over, but it is about trying to just keep it as close to what their established work schedule is.
Okay, hold on. I gotta do some reading because this one's gonna get me.
Sure. And I will say other places I've worked, it's been, 15 minutes or half an hour. And so just dropping down from the hour increments felt a little bit more fluid to meet where employees are. This is not a hill that we're going to die on. It's just my recommendation. If you don't mind, Chris, while you research, I'd like
Go
to
ahead.
share the other changes and updates. One question was, if somebody doesn't have an alternate work schedule, what are their hours? And so we've designated what are city hall work hours and what are public works work hours. Public works, I believe, are at 7 to 4 are their regular hours that then they can deviate from with an alternate work schedule. City hall is more aligned with customer service. Our work hours are 8 to 5, and then our open hours are 9 to 4:30. That allows open and close of business during times customers aren't present. And so that helps establish a default for evaluation of alternate work schedules. I'd like to add a policy regarding uniforms and dress codes. There is no impetus for this other than just to have it in there. This would clarify city hall dress expectations just in terms of professionalism. We recently were able to get Towanda t-shirts, and so we can dress casually, but we want anything that we're wearing to reflect work appropriateness. It also clarifies public works uniform expectations. They've also received t-shirts. And then it allows basically a baked in, we have always allowed for purchase of protective work gear, boots, things like that. This actually solidifies it within the personnel policy. And then the final item that we're proposing updating is that if there are harassment claims, whether it's sexual or otherwise, this would designate the mayor as the point of contact to investigate anything involving the city administrator or the city council.
Get that part, yeah. I'm still stuck on there. That stuff, okay, cool.
And I can go backwards.
The hours I'm stuck on. So explain the why.
For
Why
me,
do we need to go to 15 minutes?
for me, the goal there was to get as close to what their regular schedule would be without going over. Often if so if somebody has a doctor's appointment and they end up out for say 2.25 hours, at the end of the week, they might be they could log those 2, but then that final hour is just a little bit murky what happens in it. So they're either closer to 39 or they're going over 40. And so the goal was to let people get as close to 40 without exceeding 40 as possible.
Well,
We've had several situations where timesheets will come in a little over 40 because of use of leave.
yeah, I mean, that's part of service work, right? I mean, it's no different than getting called out, right? To be fair, the expectation is for them to work more than 40, right? That's probably their want as well. But I guess I just don't understand. It's an hour. Like you take your hour, because at 15 minutes you can't. I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I'm saying at 15 minutes you can't make it to El Dorado and back.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, and most people are already in El Dorado, so if they live here in Towanda, they're gonna stop, get something to eat or whatever, and then they get back here. If they go a little over, in my opinion, I prefer them to go a little over. And I as well am not a big fan of and I think you and I talked about this, of the, whatever that other thing called, the flexible work schedule. That blows my mind. My brain doesn't work that way. Military, whatever you want to say. Like it doesn't work that way for me, but I understand what you're doing.
And
I'm
so
not
again,
telling you
it's not
no.
a hill to die on, it's a recommendation.
I'm not telling you no, I just didn't understand and I don't know that I ever will, so I think it's up to everybody else. Either go to work or don't.
Yeah.
I have a pretty simple policy covered here. Go to work, don't go to work.
Go to work today, and you're done, you're done.
Right.
I'll throw something in there. I just
Yeah.
run payroll, and so I think it's actually a good idea just for the fact that if somebody doesn't need that extra 45 minutes, they'll come back to work. So, you know what I mean? Like, it's whoever's in charge of payroll is really gonna be the one that has to deal with it. So everybody else is kind of like, it may be beneficial because if they only need 4 hours, like if they just need 4 hours, they only need 3 hours and 15 minutes, they'll come back at 3 hours and 15 minutes. So it's just kind of, I ran it both ways as far as fuel goes, and it's fairly easy both ways, but I can see where you're coming from, like, just go to work, but.
Freaking go to work.
I
mean,
know.
And it is coming from a timesheet review factor for me to where I see employees, using leave time that kicks them up to pretty close to 41. And I always feel like the bad guy when I have to go back and be like, actually, I need to knock an hour off that and get you back under 40. So
Well, we get the.
It's not for the first 15 minutes, it's for the 15 minutes after the first hour.
Right. See, I'd say go for 41 then, buddy. But different business city, I get it. Yeah, do your thing, guys.
I think 15's
Do it.
documented.
I trust you.
Easier. It's not as a,
So what are you asking council for tonight? Approval?
approval of the handbook with the proposed updates with any exceptions that you don't want to approve.
And one more question. Who's approving that? Yeah, okay, cool. But who is approving it for the field gas?
So that has shifted to Ryland.
Okay.
He is now doing the
And then for
timesheet
here,
review. I
You are
review.
doing it. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Thank you.
and they get paid for
I know.
Any
They do come to work.
any further discussion?
No.
Do I have a motion to accept the handbook updates as presented?
Motion to accept the handbook updates as presented.
Second,
Yeah, all in favor? Or moving right along, council priority.
Council priorities. We're going to revisit a few things we talked about last month and then start to drill down. And I want to come back to council this month and say, this is an important conversation because I've now been here 6 months. And over the last few months, the priorities have mushroomed. And we have a very small staff to address a very wide range of priorities. And so the closer that we can get to the council as a board setting and agreeing on priorities, the easier it is for staff to know where to focus their energy. It is challenging for me as your administrator. I have 6 bosses and I want to be responsive to each and every boss as well as what I'm seeing on the ground each day. And that pulls me, I am truly stretched too thin at this point. And so this is about trying to get back to where I know what's expected of me. I know what we're expecting of the city staff and where council has agreed and voted on priorities. That's not where we're going quite tonight,
So,
but that's the drill down.
are we talking about that in executive session or something? Because might be a different topic.
Could be. And so again, we talked last month, and I'm going to just review an overview just to keep it fresh in the conversation. But basically, we need the council to have agreed upon priorities. And then once we have priority lists, that would be something that we would give quarterly updates on where we are in those priority efforts. That's also how the council would evaluate me in my evaluations. And so current priorities, again, we'll speed through them. Right now, this is what my plate looks like. I'm not talking about the rest of the staff, although there are issues that fall on others. But within the kind of human resources category, I'm working on job description updates, employee manual updates one by one, overall alignment within the organization, performance evaluation frameworks, compensation strategies, things that help make this a place where people know what's expected and it's a great place to work. Financially, I'm working on policies and procedures to make sure the city's funds are cared for and strengthened well. Working on staff training on those policies and procedures, safeguards to make sure we have good checks and balances, all the things that build trust for us. The budget development, we will have our budget workshop next week and talk more in depth on that. We're continuing with development of the capital improvement plan and the municipal equipment replacement plan. Both of those project how we're going to spend money on strategic items for the next several years. I'm working still through the audit process. I think we'll have an update on that from the auditor in August based on my last conversation. I do expect there will be a response that we need to do when we get that audit letter. There will be things that we need to address. We've got a procurement policy on the books now, but there's a lot of refining to do. And then payroll issues. We have had several payrolls that have been challenging. There are deeper issues within our systems, our QuickBooks that are causing problems. And so I've spent a lot of time troubleshooting there. Policies, the more that we pursue federal grants, the more we have to make sure that we have policies and procedures in place for grant compliance and administration and reporting, and that is labor intensive. Risk management, making sure that we are using best practices in everything that we do, and then just looking at overall protocols to back those policies. With customer service, that has been a council priority to look at what are our expectations, how do we manage customer service needs in a way that gets them resolved, training, compliance, how do we research and resolve, and then our strategies for response. And then staff management, council has asked me to have Ryland step up into more of a management role with Public Works, and we are working on that. He's taking on some additional duties there, but all other staff management is my supervisory authority. So we're looking at one-on-one meetings, overall team building, just to keep morale up. Looking at how do we train and develop each staff member in the track they want to be on, and then situational response with staff. And so administratively, that's what's on my plate. Information technology, I'm not going to go into great detail. There are things about our organizational security that concern me greatly. There are things about our organizational tech setup that create great inefficiencies and challenges, like networks and file management systems, connectivity, or across a number of different platforms that don't interface very well. Our website is going to become a greater issue in the coming couple of years. Right now, it's kind of a Wix website. It's kind of a blog platform. We have some pretty heavy federal compliance coming down regarding ADA accessibility on websites. And so every digital document we create in our whole website must be ADA compatible by April of 28. So we've got about a year and a half.
Quick question on internet on the website. Since we do gather some data in there, do we have a firm privacy policy posted on the?
I don't think we do. So that kicks back to the administrative policies. For almost everything we do, we need policies to back it.
Well, that one we got in here.
So from an IT standpoint, communications, we have the Herald that rolls around every month. That's about 2 days of my time. Social media, I would love to have a good comms strategy, but I can't get ahead of it. Website needs some updates and overhauls. I'd like to propose a new platform to help kind of reconcile both of those things, but that takes time. And then just whatever other communications would be helpful for the community. Similarly, community engagement. I know that having listening sessions in town halls so the public can participate and speak to staff, speak to council on their thoughts and opinions is important. We've talked about a community survey. I think that's doable in-house if it's time. And then strategic planning could help bring all of these miscellaneous pieces together to create more of a fluid, how are we going to work it? Compliance efforts, we have kind of local compliance, things like law enforcement, code enforcement, animal control, things like that, as well as policies that help us to comply with work comp or any number of types of things, as well as some of the federal compliance systems challenges, things like our lead and copper in our water system. We have drilled down on that. We know what challenges we still have, and we do have some compliance dates coming up in 2027 on that. Contracts and contract management, we have representatives of our sheriff's department tonight. We have our nuisance code compliance, our pool operations. We've had challenges with our uniform contract, which seems small, but it's been a challenge. We've got a number of handshake agreements that don't actually have contracts that need contracts. And then we have several community organizations that we support financially that really need memorandum of understanding to determine kind of what are the terms of that agreement? What is it that we're trying to fund and intending to fund, and what are the limits of that? We have economic development. I do have a developer that has approached the city about a potential housing development. And so we need to look at our appetite for incentives and what types of things the community needs. We should look at our commercial development goals. Obviously, we have a a live and active proposal, but a greater strategy, and then just overall marketing for the community. And then community development, a little bit more broad. And then we have our major efforts and initiatives. That includes, right now, we have a sales tax proposal on the August 4th ballot. I have started to create a web page for that, but we need to do some additional education and a town hall and things like that on that. The budget development is in process. Next week, when we talk, we're going to start with a high water mark in the event that the sales tax doesn't pass. My hope is that the sales tax then would pass and we would not have to hit that high water mark with the mill levy. But we want to be prepared with a high water mark. That way we don't have to gouge our budget if it doesn't pass. We have the 309 Main and CDBG project. We have Safe Streets for All in process now. We are looking at water system improvements and financing, and I'm getting ready to work on another round of grant applications this year for that. We have street maintenance and improvements and looking at how do we prioritize the work that keeps coming in, because our streets are having issues and people let us know and we try to be responsive, but we can't do everything all the time. Again, we've discussed the potential of a police department. I was sharing with our sheriff's department earlier, that's not one of those things you turn the light switch and one day it's on. It would definitely be a coordinated effort with ramp up. And then we have dogs at large, we have cat concerns, and then grant management is time consuming. You're getting a little taste of it as we walk through this CDBG project. And so that's what's on my plate right now.
I think you're doing a great job, but I think we got people that need to take on some of that stuff from you.
So what I'd like to try to do, last month I proposed a 10-year kind of framework, and this is not telling us what has to happen which year, but to really look at what do we need to pull out this year for stabilization, and what do we need to back burner. Looking the next few years at what does it take to establish a foundation, and that's going to be probably, it looks like dirt work where the machinery goes back and forth, but you don't see anything happening. But it's so important. You know, we've just been stabilizing the base on some of our roads and then doing an overlay. And the critical thing there is to get the base right so that those roads will hold up and the overlay doesn't crack. The fun part comes in that move the needle phase. And then when we cycle back through and we maintain momentum, but that's 4 or 5 years away. And so looking at just what are the steps and what are the pace that I can be accountable to council for to make that happen. And so what I'd like to do is I have some of those slides that we just overviewed and just have some conversation tonight with council, and then over the coming months, you know, we'll drill down further and we'll look further out. But for this month, I'd like to look at kind of what are some of those priorities and what council sees as the top priorities within this stabilization. And for council, I'm going to go ahead and forward to a series of questions because you're going to have the slides in front of you. So would like to, with that, I'm glad to stand for any questions and to open it up for council discussion. I'd like to think through what is missing. You know, it's an extensive list, but I haven't caught everything. And there are probably things that you see that aren't there. Within this, what are the top priorities? You know, what floats to the surface to each of you? What can hold till later? And then looking at clarity and realisticness of goals. And so I don't want to make this a super lengthy conversation, but I wanted to ask here in July, what do you want to see us as staff achieve through the end of this year, through December? And some of that might be starting, some of it might be completing.
Think my, yeah, I mean, there's some of the stuff you just have to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
But,
Absolutely.
but some of the, and I'm not gonna call it nonsense, but the little stuff that is in here,
So what?
the little stuff, the triage, right? So when you go to the medical, any kind of anything, you triage everything you have, right?
Mhm.
And I get it. You're looking at this big picture. Okay. Take that big picture and do that, and then tell me what's most important on your head. Right?
Yes.
Because that's, you start looking at this whole picture and you're gonna get lost in that picture.
Overwhelmed.
I promise.
And I am
So-
prone to doing that, yeah.
How do we triage, not we, how do you triage
Mhm.
what's important in your job description, in your job?
Mhm.
Staff gonna come first or
Mhm.
citizens come first, staff second, somewhere probably in line there. I don't know how you say that exactly.
Is there, take it? Yeah.
Chris, in
Gonna
answer
smoke
to
it
your
later.
question, for me, and I don't want to, jump
No.
the gun on council opinion,
Yeah,
but I think anything that has legal and timeliness deadlines, such as the budget, anything that has the potential of a lawsuit, such as some of the compliance things,
please do.
the website, the lead and copper, those things are not really within our control. We have an obligation to abide by them.
I agree.
So that's what I would triage first.
Well,
A
that's why I
second,
asked.
I would say the administrative foundation is the thing that if we don't get it correct early on, we'll see the potholes develop later.
Again, there's certain things you have to do, right? And everybody's sitting here. There's certain things you three have to do in this office or in this building.
Mhm.
By the end of the year, right? You guys know what those three things are. Two of you have been doing this for a long time. So on that note, take those things. Okay, they're up here, right? But staff, citizens, how do we take care of that is what's most important to me. So the rest of the stuff, that Herald, listen, I love it, but if it's gonna take up too much time, see you later. Social media, see you later. If you want something, come down here and talk to us, right?
Mhm.
So if it's really taking up too much time, you mentioned a new website.
Mhm.
We have one.
What's
We'll
the
use it for
value
now.
in those
Mhm.
things for you?
You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Town hall meetings are important. Community survey, you know how to make a survey monkey?
Mhm.
There you go. Send it out, right? Little stuff like that, right? You start picking through and you start handing it out,
Mhm.
right? And then all of a sudden, your list went from this to this.
Mhm.
And that's what we need you to do because this is the list you care about,
Mhm.
right? I understand. I get it. I walked into some new stuff this year, as you
Mhm.
know, and this is what I did, right? But this is what I needed to do.
Mhm.
So in 3 weeks, I had to turn this and go, see ya, and figure out what this was, right? So
Mhm.
I think, I know you have a lot on your plate, and I'm not taking away from that, but find a way to, the important things that are legal, legality,
Mhm.
things like that, that's you.
So would council like to see next month to kind of guide the discussion? Would council like to see my outline overlay?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're quick.
And I agree with what he's saying. Sometimes you have to do this
Mhm.
in order to become
I do those.
overwhelmed, to narrow it down to the critical pieces and find out where you can farm out some of this other stuff. So you're not leaving here frazzled.
I don't want to be mean, but hey, you got a type, do the Herald. I'm just an example, right? Hey, you got this, or hey,
Yep.
Joe, guy down the road, you got this, right? It's okay to hand that stuff out. They don't have to do it right the first time. That's part of it, right? I promise. I mess up more than anybody. I promise. You got to see me type. It's terrible. Okay, but allow them. That allows you that time. Yes, you have to double check things. I get that, but it takes a lot less time to double check something than to type the whole darn thing out yourself. Especially for me. I promise.
And then
AI is my friend.
the critical thing for me is to be able to come back and know that you as a board are unified in your support for the established priorities.
I think I can speak for everybody sitting here, maybe not the mayor because he can't hear me, but every one of us have your back to the fullest extent, and we want everybody to their morale high. I'm not gonna say happy because that's not gonna happen. I want everybody's morale high. I want the jobs getting done and just show up to work. I think we've said that. Right?
Yeah.
Cinnamon,
Sir,
by no means am I saying you don't have a longer plate. I know you do.
You
Whittle that down to what you can actually handle.
Absolutely. And part of this is about determining what can go a little bit further
Right.
out.
Yeah.
Like some of the stuff is fun, some of it is not
Right.
fun. But the important thing is to understand what the work plan is and that some things we can't get to immediately because we've got other building blocks that need to come first. But nothing on this list is not important, and nothing on this list is
That's right.
not something that I'd like to see achieved.
Right. No, everything on that list
Eventually.
is important. I agree 100%. It doesn't mean it's important today.
Mhm.
Right? Sometimes tomorrow carries a big burden.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Maybe you need to play golf today. I don't know. Whatever. Not really. You know what I'm saying though.
No, sir. That is not on your list of things to do.
It's on my list. But no, but on a real note, I think by no means am I taking anything away from you. Don't think that. I just want you to not think so broadly and think you have to do everything today.
Mhm.
I don't want you to do that because I know, like I said, you and I talked about that. I got into it. By golly, I got to do everything right now, or
Mhm.
they're all going to leave. Everybody's quitting. Guess what? Nobody quit. Right? So, not yet. Give time. But I think that's where I stand on that, and I think I speak for everybody with that.
Yes.
And I think, council, the hard guidance I would give you in that is that there are some of those things that as a community, I hear that we want desperately, but
Absolutely.
we are not ready to embark on them.
That's right. Listen, I want $1 million. I'm not gonna have it tomorrow.
Mhm.
Yeah, not even if I ask everybody in the world, I'm not gonna get it.
Mhm.
But streets, yep, they're important.
Mhm.
We're working on them down here. We're gonna work on them on 6th Street next, I
Yes.
think, right? That's a big one for me, especially because I'm telling you, my teeth rattle when I go to that. My goodness, but I know it's coming,
Mhm.
right? So we collectively, we know it's coming, right? You know, we have people here that will shake their head, yes, I'm sure. That they know they're seeing it done, they're seeing what you've done, and but don't overwhelm yourself with 73 tasks, right? Whittle that down. Don't whittle. I hate that word. Get it down to manageable and
Build up.
to what you're.
I will
actually
bring
doing.
recommendations back.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Source.
Anything else on this topic?
No, not unless other feedback.
Nope. We have one appointment.
I believe so.
I didn't hear what you
Cindy.
Oh.
Library.
said.
Cindy Cowell.
Yes, our appointment is
Library
Cindy
board.
Cowell.
You have the form. You have the form.
No.
Take this one.
Okay, we have one more business agenda that we need to clear up. We have an appointment to the library board. Is the council appoint Cindy Cowell to the library board at this point? Can we get a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion to appoint Cindy Cal to the library board.
Second? Angel, all in favor? Or, all righty,
Who seconded that?
Angel.
Pick me.
That's fine.
Pick me.
Quickly, quickly.
I had them all last year. Of
Nine.
course.
I'm just curious, mentioned that it was Kansas Construction Services that damaged the building, and I apologize. He had a hard time in the very beginning with his project and contractors, and we went through several, and I was sitting there trying to think, and they did have insurance. I wouldn't let that slip by.
Have we claimed any cost to clean up or anything like that?
Hmm.
Have we
They
claimed-
cleaned up.
they
We
did?
didn't have any costs in it at all, but we do.
That would
They
have to
did
go
have
through Mr.
insurance.
Perry anyways.
So I just was thinking through all the contractors. I couldn't remember which one it was that created the building.
I see the place.
For the building.
Oh, it's coming. It's
Do
on.
what?
Was there a claim made?
You didn't file on this guy's insurance?
Did you file on his insurance at all?
No, I
Was
didn't.
it fair to the construction service?
No, I didn't. Kansas Construction Services, no,
So,
But you still can.
Yeah, how long ago it happened?
it's not over 2
2
years.
years. It's roughly 2 years, but I bet you still can. I think you have 5,
Contractual, why?
But
at least 3. Might be something to look at. Instead of taking this on the chin, might help a little bit. And
What would you like me to
That
do?
guy's not gonna change anything for him.
Just
Sure.
announce it and then.
I mean, if he's got that length of time to, I would, absolutely.
It ain't gonna change the thing for him.
No.
You're gonna pay the same amount, I promise.
I've got to read. Okay, before we get into a couple other things, we will be having a special meeting next Wednesday night. The items that were not included in tonight's packet will be included in that packet, treasurer's report, as Sarah said. We're going to have the Q2 financial update. Hopefully, at that point in time, we will have a pretty good handle, or at least a basis of a proposed budget for the year 2027. And this, and then we'll be having a discussion of the intent to exceed the revenue neutral rate. Not saying we will, but if we don't tell them that we might, we can. So doesn't lock us into doing it or not doing it. It just leaves the door open before we close it behind us. Like anyone, any of your friends that want to comment on the budget, that want to participate, to be here. The mission is to have at least the proposed budget ready and a town hall workshop meeting between the 15th and the 1st of August. And let the city the residents look at what the budget would look like tax-wise to you, with and without the sales tax.
What time?
I'm sorry, 7 o'clock. Normal time.
Just by the night, call Mindy every week and ask her what time it is.
And if you said you would be here for that one, but not.
I will. Yeah, I can't be
Okay,
later. than
okay.
tomorrow. I'll be
All right.
gone. Second week or third.
We have a request for executive sessions. Everyone knows you'll have to excuse yourselves, or we'll excuse ourselves or something. But sit tight until the motion is passed. We may not be going into executive session. It's their decision. So, Ms. Watkins.
I move that the board recesses into executive session for 10 minutes to discuss personal matters of non-elected personnel pursuant of the justification listed in KSA 75-4319B. Attendance will include the mayor, city council, city attorney, city administrator, and the city administrator. The meeting time will resume in Towanda City Hall Council Room at 8:40.
And I second that.
All in favor?
41.
Motion by Jennifer, second by Angel.
I didn't know we
4-0.
had to.
Okay.
I thought we had to. I didn't know it was an option. Now I do.